Hi there, Nicki Vee here from the 1010 movement. And today I welcome you if this is your first time on our channel. Please do subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you get our videos twice a week. So if not, welcome back. So today I want to talk to you about our higher levels of consciousness. Oh my goodness me, it's been such a fascinating journey for me over the last 20 years. And I came into personal development and really had never heard about consciousness, never learnt about awareness or vibrations or anything like that. Just, I suppose at first, learnt about, our thinking and how we utilize our thinking to get the experience we have. As you'll know from previous videos that I've made, I was talking about the law of cause and effect and how if we really want to know how we can live in a level of consciousness and expand our consciousness, that we need to look at how we are attracting what we're experiencing in life. But today I want to share with you something that I found so fascinating when I started to explore the higher levels of consciousness, the parts of us that we really don't learn about in any way, even in personal development. A lot of the time we're talking about sort of success formulas and ways that we might have more success, get things in life, manifest in life, and that's all really good. But it wasn't until Tony and I, well, it was Tony that went there first, as you probably can tell. Tony's been researching and looking into the sort of more spiritual experience that we have here on the planet. And as he learnt it, so he shared it with me. And there's been many times on our journeys and through all the times that we've spent together where Tony will have read something or studied something through a spiritual guide, and then he's explained it to me in really amazing layman's terms. And that's what Tony's really good at. He sort of explains things so that I can understand them. And one of the things that he came across was this, how do we, what is our higher consciousness? What is that part of us that kind of knows everything? The part of us, and could it be that this is the spirit part of us? And my understanding is that, that part of us is with us all the time. And when our body is finished and we die and our body decomposes, that actually, and our mind is not working anymore, but that actually our spirit continues on and on. And there's some amazing philosophy. One of the philosophies that Tony and I came across was this thought that maybe we actually have a journey that our spirit is on. And could it be that, if all spirit is everywhere, if all our spirits are connected and as one, could it be possible that it's just a tiny part of us? My friend Richard Wilkins, he's written this most amazing poem that talks from beyond life, talks from spirit, talks from heaven, and says, I'm talking to that earth-bound consciousness, that tiny spark of spirit, of the whole of spirit that comes down to have this experience. And I know we use the word down, don't we, to talk about having our spirit come down to have an earthly experience in our body and the utilization of the mind and the brain. But of course, as I suppose understood it from myself, what I wanted to share with you is, how do we get in touch with it? How do we find out what it is? Like that wonderful question, what are we here for? If it's true that our spirit has come from the greater spirit, that one part of it, it's a bit like, so Richard Wilkins talks about it, radical forgiveness talks about it, so many people talk about this, where they go, if it's true that a small part of the greater whole called spirit comes within us to have this experience, how do we tap into that? How do we find that part of us? Because that's the part that, yes, has come to have an earthly experience, but the part that if we expand into it and make it part of our life will cause us to expand to a higher consciousness. It will cause us to have a different experience of life. And it's funny that I was having an edit and having a read of Tony's new book today, and it was so interesting when it came to that part where he kept asking questions, and he kept sort of saying, look, you know, what is going to happen for you as an individual when you are seeing things from a new perspective, when your spirit is more part of your life? For me, that's when we are living in a higher consciousness, as opposed to, and please don't think I'm saying that that there are people who are, you know, not good in some way, or that vibrate lower, because I don't actually believe that in the lower, higher beings. I believe that we expand into a higher consciousness, a higher awareness. But it is said, and especially in Tony's book, it says that, you know, if we're not very careful, we sort of operate in the lowest common denominator. And I don't know about you, but when you look at the news and you see things that are going on in the world, and you go that people seem to get into the fight, and they get into the lowest common denominator, and this person says that's wrong, and this person says that's wrong. And for me, this is a low vibration of life. And when we get into the fight, then we can only be in the melee and have that kind of experience. Whereas if we see ourselves as spirit, as a spirit that has come to have an experience, could it be possible that it's not only come to have an experience of this thing called life in this earthly body, but also for us to expand our spirituality, expand into a higher level of consciousness? So that's the way that I understand it. It's a deeper thought process than the logic. So, you know, as we talk about expanding our consciousness, we talk about getting out of the mind and out of the logic and out of the practical and the intellect. And we go into a place where we go, oh, could it be that I'm a part of me, and I am part of spirit, and therefore I can see the world through that perspective? And I absolutely love that thought, that spirit part of us has this profound gift. It has this, first of all, this profound gift to share. Could that be that's why we're here? And it also has the profound gift of being able to look at things from a higher level of consciousness, from a place of no judgment, from a place of no intellect or logic, but from a place of love and unconditional love. And it's so hard, isn't it? There's so many words to describe, like a low vibration or in the fight or in the melee, but there's very few words to describe that expanded higher level of consciousness. And I find that really interesting. On my journey, I've come across so many great teachers, and I was just thinking of a couple of examples of where I've started to see things from a different perspective because of the teachers that I was with. And one of them was Brandon Bays, and I don't know whether you've come across Brandon's journey, the journey process, but in it she talks about, and we talk about when we're taking part in that process, we talk about the source of us, the soul of us, the isness of us, the spirit of us. And it's that part that's got this like indescribable, it's so indescribable I can't even think of the words. It's got that indescribable quality of peace. I've been very privileged to do lots of those kind of interventions with people who are perhaps having a very low level vibration experience. Maybe they are, you know, they have they're dying, or they've got some condition or disease, or they are going blind, and I've been very privileged over the years to do some sort of hypnotherapy work, some sort of journey work with them. And the moment that I love, and it's a moment that is just so special, that I feel like I am blessed to be there serving this person, just to guide them on this journey to this part of them. And they go from all the hurt and the pain and the anger and the low vibrational words to describe, or the pain or the discomfort or the fear or whatever it is. And all of a sudden, through that sort of black hole, as they say, you know, what is it that's past that? If we allow ourselves to drop through that, So of course, as I'm describing this, I'm finding it difficult to explain the words, because either we're expanding and going to a higher level of consciousness so that we can look at things and people in the world through a different perspective, as Tony says, or we're down in the deepest, darkest part of ourselves, and what people often describe as like a black hole. And what Brandon taught me to do was to say, let's what's seeping through the cracks? Let's dive through this black hole, and what is there? And people like amaze me, because they go, oh, as if they've seen this sort of light, and they go, oh, it's like light, it's like freedom, it's like, and how can we, which is what I love about this, how can we, as what I call like normal, down-to-earth human beings, able to go through some of those earthly feelings and those experiences, and through there we break through into this place of light and spirit and free, and it's just amazing. And I think that, you know, one of the things that I learnt from that is that there's always a way of us all breaking through the darkness. There's always a way of us breaking through the pain. And actually, this here, the mind, this doesn't have the answer, in my view. But that an expanded, higher level of consciousness can find that place within us all, where we're free of the pain, and we're free of the darkness, we're free of the fear, we're free of the judgment. And it's that part of us that can speak truth. You know, I've worked with, again, many people, including myself, who have been through real pain in relationships. And when truth is spoken from a high level of consciousness, there is no argument with that. People who have been fighting for years, all of a sudden, all the fight goes. And all of a sudden, there is only one thing, and that is truth. And that is love, and that is spirit, and that is consciousness. And I love that. And I said I was going to give you a second example, so I'll just give you another example before I leave you today. And that is that when Tony and I were in Glastonbury, and we were there in 2011, 2012. Now, those of you who might have been interested in the esoteric might remember that there was a lot of language around then about how something cataclysmic, is it? Yes, cataclysmic, was going to happen. Actually, they even had a date for it. They said December the 21st, I think it was, 2012. And yes, the Hollywood made a movie about the end of the world being nigh. But a lot of people around the spiritual and personal and Glastonbury world were basically saying that some tsunami is coming, some break, something's going to happen. You know, people were going and like living higher up, so that in case the water came and we were all, you know, swept away, they were trying to save themselves. Or people were saying there's going to be some sort of, you know, all the banks are going to crash and everything's going to be horrible, and, you know, people are going to be like fighting on the streets for food. And I noticed something. I noticed that the people who were in fear, they were like making stuff up in their mind that made them feel worse. Whereas when, if we can, and I urge you to come on this journey with me and Tony, with us, if we can, through talking about it and understanding it, if we can come out of that fear, come out of that red zone, as Tony calls it, and into a more higher, more expanded level of consciousness, into the green zone, if we can do that, then the fear goes. And I remember while we were there, I saw a film, and I'm sorry to say I can't remember the name of it, but it was something about there being some sort of big, you know, swathe of like, you know, not good things for the planet, that the planet was going to somehow be in a real bad state. But it talked about how each of us as individuals might deal with that. And it talked about those of us, and I really want to share with you that if you're even listening to me today, you are one of those people. And that is not to say that other people are not, you know, are less than in some way. It's just to say that we're even spending the time, you're spending the time watching the video, I'm taking the time to make this video, to talk about things like that. And it talked in this video, in this film, about us being prepared for that to happen, whether it happens or not. It talked about us, you know, really searching and looking for that higher level of consciousness, so that when or if and however it might be, whether it is a financial crash or whether it is some sort of virus like we have now, or whether it is a tsunami, whatever it is, or whether it is the ozone layer, whatever it is, that actually those people that are prepared, because they are learning about being in a higher level of consciousness, those people who are prepared, those people would be the people who were able to survive that. Not because they were better than or anything, but because the fear, people's fear, would hold them so rigid that they would be pushing against whatever was happening, and they would be fearful of it, and they would be resisting it. And that would be, this is what the film said, the philosophy was, that would be the thing that took them and killed them. And it said that those of us who were prepared to work to overcome our fear might be affected by this whole wave of whatever happened, but that it might take us back, but that actually we would then be still here in order for us to be the people that continue the human race, but at a much, much higher level of consciousness. And I so just want to finish by saying, please, please, please understand that I'm not saying that makes you and I or any of us better than anyone else. It's just that we have decided maybe to research and to dive into this philosophy that says we could work on ourselves and learn so that we live on this planet, in this body, with this mind, at a higher level of consciousness, so that we have a 10 out of 10 experience of this world, but that actually we're also prepared and ready to assist others who are scared, to assist others who are frightened, and therefore to be prepared for if there is some sort of difficulty. We might say that we're already having that difficulty now, that we might be the people who decide to vibrate in a way that is not fear, but that is just trust and understanding and acceptance. And so that we can be in that different state to assist others, but also, most importantly, to assist ourselves to stay in that state that we are. This is who we are. We are spirit. We are source. We are that. And yes, we're coming here to have a certain experience of the planet in our earthly experience. But here's the real experience, is that we come to expand. So I do hope that you have got something from that to think about, if not to take action on, if not to meditate on, if not to just think about. And please do, if you want to comment or ask me any questions or talk to me and Tony about it, please do put your comments in the area below here on YouTube. And as I said earlier, if you haven't yet, please do subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so that you will hear when the next video comes out. So until then, I'll see you soon. Bye bye.